Here we are, live and direct. Christy, are you ready?
Ready.
17 minutes past. It's a bit hot, eh? 17 minutes past the hour. The Leo Zagami show, wherever you are in the world, welcomes you for our usual rundown of our weekly news with the most unusual analysis, geopolitical analysis to date, with Leo and Christy Zagami. And here we are for another week where we had a lot of things happening. We are not yet back on Facebook. That's obvious, I guess, for everybody who is watching us now. Okay, and while the music is still running, let's of course discuss the topic of the week, the raid to stop Trump basically from running for office in 2024. That's it's basically what they are doing, because the Espionage Act has been something never used before against a president of the United States, and in this case they are obviously doing all this to stop the possible almost certain winner of the next presidential run. But we have also a lot more news from all over the world, really, because we have still Zaporizhia, which is an ongoing threat. The nuclear threat we discussed last week is now been on the news, and we have also a statement from the Russian representative at the UN, which is pretty disturbing. I wish they would give more focus on what he said, because I mean they're playing with fire in what is really one of the biggest, if not the bigger, nuclear plant in Europe. And on top of that, more news regarding, of course, also our friend Alex Jones, who has had a great week of sales at InfoWars after the sad trial, of course, that we have all witnessed. And we will have also his statement with Steve Bannon, which is a very interesting one. But also we have another topic of discussion today, which is quite interesting and very close to us.
Yeah.
The Mexico cartel war is going out of control. It's literally going out of control. Entire cities under siege. All this happened, of course, gradually after the arrest originally in 2019 of the son of El Chapo. Then they did this modality of surrounding the city to get him free. Now they have also there's a controversy regarding somebody who supposedly has been arrested, another cartel leader of Sinaloa, one of these important cartels. We will be discussing this today, and we will be showing you some incredible footage, also myself in Tijuana. We have a friend, Sergei Lavage, who has done a brilliant pic that we would like to show. Really cool. Yes, I must say it was a cool pic. You liked it, we liked it, everybody liked it. In fact, I put it on my Facebook profile. And yes, I need to find it. I have it now on my Facebook profile, but I can't find it at the moment. But it's getting already a lot of likes. So let's go on Facebook and we can see exactly how well received it's been, this pic.
Rambo is very, 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 very photogenic.
Yes, it's photogenic, not hygienic. And so the Leo Zagami show continues. And we want to absolutely thank those very few people who have donated. I must say we have not managed to cover our costs this week, guys. Sadly enough, we are not managing to cover our cost with the present donations, and with the fact that you're also very stingy on purchasing books. Probably, I don't know, maybe all our audience has already purchased the book. I don't know. The Leo Zagami book of this year, Volume 7, is definitely a book worth purchasing, that of course is read also by our friend Rambo, another participant to this show.
Son.
Well, he is our son. Here he is while he's reading the book, and there is already 81 likes. It's definitely very cute, so thank you for that montage, yes.
I have to turn the air conditioning down.
Yes. Why?
I have it down, but it's not down anymore.
How down you have it? In Europe?
On 67.
Well, I mean, it's just like the humidity, the heat, always unbearable these days. So let's move forward with all the news of today. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Ready.
Let's go directly to Mexico. Okay, I was.
You're being so dramatic.
Yes, but what I'm about to show is very dramatic. It's not a picnic at the park here. What is happening just 2 hours from where we are based here in Palm Springs is amazing. I mean, we're talking about people killing themselves in the streets, shootings in full daylight, but also basically setting fire to cars all over Tijuana, and also a lot of problems in the capital of the Chihuahua region, which deserves very much our son Rambo. Yes, I'm talking about Juarez, the city of Juarez. Guys, some crazy stuff is going on there. But at this point, let's start from Tijuana, where I think the violence is escalating to levels that I've never seen before. I actually was wanting to show you news which is, I think, shocking, because I mean, it's all happening 2 hours from where we live, and whole cities under siege is something that has never been heard before. But this other thing about basically the guys at the embassy, at the consulate there, who have to hide. I mean, this is incredible. So let me show you what is happening first in Tijuana, and then we're going to see also what's happening in Juarez. And we have some exclusive images also from Tijuana that we would like to share with you. Guys, huh? So what do you think?
I'm excited to see these images.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like some of them are pretty hardcore. I tell you, I mean, this is no joke. This is Tijuana in the last couple of days.
U.S. consulate workers in Tijuana told to shelter in place amid wave of violence. Employees of the U.S. government in Tijuana, Mexico and Baja California were told to shelter in place late Friday as police responded to reports of violence and property crime, the U.S. consulate in Tijuana tweeted late Friday night. Driving the news, reports of violence, vehicle fires and roadblocks in Tijuana, Ensenada, Tecate and Rosarito began late Friday. Tijuana's mayor said at least 2,000 officers and 3,000 National Guard troops were at the ready to restore order, NBC San Diego reports. What they're saying: Marina del Pilar Avila Olmeda, governor of Baja California, condemned the crime and violence in a video posted on Twitter. "We will apply all the strength of our government so that there is peace and we find those responsible for these attacks," she tweeted. Police had already detained multiple people stemming from the incidents, per NBC San Diego. No injuries or deaths have been reported as of Saturday morning. Meanwhile, a 3-day music festival called Baja Beach Fest is also taking place in the area this weekend. The festival's organizers said in a tweet they were aware of the reports and working with law enforcement to ensure attendees are safe.
Well, good luck for those people attending that festival.
I have a friend that lives in Baja.
I mean, as you can see, the situation is particularly tense, but there is a lot going on. And like I said, I have a lot of videos to show. And Tijuana, it's definitely a crazy place. But it's not only Tijuana here. Also, we have other places that are definitely suffering from what is happening with this war issued by the cartels. It's almost like the beginning, really, of a civil war here.
¡Órale, hijo de su puta madre! ¡Órale! ¡Pura gente! ¡Véngase! ¡Véngase todos! ¡Véngase! ¡Échale! ¡Órale, córrele a la verga! ¡Pura gente se queda rancho a la verga! ¡No más a la verga!
There's really a situation of tension here, and there's very little to laugh of. I mean, this is, of course, what is happening in Tijuana. And let me remind you that the unprecedented move also that is made by the American employees of the U.S. government, employees of the U.S. government in Tijuana, Mexico, and Baja California, who have been told to shelter in place late Friday because of the situation. I mean, the situation is out of control, and we need to, of course, discuss it because I don't see really many of the mainstream media really wanting to discuss this unprecedented situation. U.S. consulate workers in Tijuana are told to shelter in place amid wave of violence. What do you think, Christy? I mean, it's like...
I'm glad that you're not going to Tijuana right now.
not at the moment. As you know, I'm a frequent... I'm often in Tijuana.
I've never been.
Well, and I advise you to never go because you are American, rather I'm Italian, and so maybe I have more of a chance of surviving if I have a gun hold on my head because they are in search of Americans. That's what happens. They are in search of Americans.
I wouldn't go now.
They are in search of Americans, and it's like this is instead what is happening in Juarez. So this is, of course, a situation that is really out of control. It's getting out of control because this cartel violence that has racked Mexico in the last few months, really, since the reported arrest of various cartel leaders. And the latest one, though, is quite interesting because they said they arrested Ricardo Ruiz, known as Double R. But now the president of Mexico is claiming he was never arrested. So, I mean, just like in the case of the son of El Chapo, who was released by the police after they were surrounded by the cartels, they are giving in. I mean, we are talking about one cartel in the specifics that seems to be the one that is more responsible is the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, known also as CING. These people, CJNG, this cartel is really present, and it's really creating a lot of problems after the Mexican authorities arrested several leaders of this cartel on the 9th of August. So 4 days after the arrest of some of their leaders, they created this panic. Rumors swirled around for a day or two now about the arrest of this Ricardo Ruiz, until there was the actual intervention of the Mexican president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who said, no, we didn't arrest him, calm down. I mean, these guys are bowing down to these crooks because, guys, the problem with Mexico is like with the whole of Central America and South America is that, of course,
workers in
but the problem with Mexico is basically that it's in the hands of the Jesuits, the whole of Central South America, and this is what happens when you're in the hands of the Jesuits, chaos. However, 2 Jesuits were killed a month ago by the cartels, and this also has created some problems. I mean, this reaction, this arrest, were forced onto the system by the Jesuits for retaliation against the cartels, but in turn, then you get chaos in the streets. This is the news yesterday for the capital of the region of Chihuahua.
On Thursday, northwestern Mexico was taken by violence. Ciudad Juárez, the capital of the state of Chihuahua, reported murderous attacks and fired at businesses following a brawl at Social Rehabilitation Center number 3. The regional authorities reported that around 1300 hours local time, the immediate organized in clans engaged in a brawl that left 3 dead. The quick response of security forces prevented the brawl from spreading. Hours later, through a series of attacks were reported. One of the most serious events took place against the radio Estadio Mega Radio. 4 office workers were killed while broadcasting from outside a pizza parole.
So guys who were actually broadcasting from a radio station found themselves attacked by the cartels. I mean, this is insane.
Due to the seriousness of the event, several public organizations as well as the Autonomous University of Ciudad Juárez suspended all activities this Friday. The regional government has said through a communique that a security operation has been deployed.
The security operation that apparently has been deployed includes 2,000 to 3,000 soldiers arriving actually in Tijuana also, as well as in the rest of the cities that are on the border, which are the ones that Mexican authorities are more worried with. Like I said, since October 2019, there was the arrest of Ovidio Guzman, who is the son of El Chapo. And at that point, the Sinaloa cartel associates, because of course the Sinaloa cartel is one of the most powerful, laid siege to the city in an attempt to pressure the government to release him. And eventually the government gave in and relented and allowed the younger Guzman to escape. So, I mean, here we are talking about a state, a series of states, that the United States of Mexico, who are basically weaker militarily against a force which is well equipped, very rich, makes its money bringing in drugs in this country, bringing in legal immigrants in this country, and the policy of the Mexican president was kind of demented, as well as socialist as he is. His policy was abrazos non balazos, which basically is hugs, not bullets. But
oh, it's like a brunch.
Bracci and non balazos, not and so the López Obrador, the president's denial of the capture. Just before, also the one of the largest cities in Mexico experienced attacks that are out of control. I mean, I want to show you more about these attacks, and so somebody is asking me for translations in Italian. No, per la trasmissione in lingua italiana dovrete attendere più tardi. This is a transmission only in the English language. So, and I hope that the people who are following us appreciate what it means for me to do this show in the English language with not so much support from the people, because we can't even pay almost the bills here to pay the. So I thank all the people who have tuned in, Bruce, Jake, Samuel, Paul, Subkef, Jake, whatever. But the problem is that we are not managing to cover our expenses, and so next Saturday we might take a couple of weeks starting from next Saturday, a couple of weeks off, coming back in September, because it's as you know, very hot, and so the cost of the air conditioning it's out of the. I mean, when you spend
right now sitting here,
and it's like when you spend $400 to $500 only for electricity because of the air condition, we have to be a little bit more parsimonious, a bit more.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. It's
So,
not a hobby, really.
This is not an hobby. I want to remind all those people, you know, I mean, I have
That's
my
your
friend
job,
Alex
so.
that does my same job. Of course, he's very successful, but I'm not asking for millions here. I was asking for maybe just recovering the cost of
$100.
Yes, but we're not managing to do that. So we not even managed to make $100. If you want to purchase our books, of course, that would be great, but that's not happening either. So at the moment, we will just have to do something else. But I want to show how beautiful it is to have a Leo Zagami book in their collection. And when you have a Leo Zagami collection, watch here. This is a collection of Zagami books that, you know, it's always a pleasure for me to receive.
They're so nice, these pictures that people make.
Yes.
That's very pretty.
Fantastic collection.
I see Chris Everard too.
Yes.
They have good books.
Yeah. And regarding books, guys, you know what has happened here in the United States of America. Unfortunately, we had the problem of Salman Rushdie. Now, I'm not a particular Salman Rushdie fan. Satanic Verses was never
What
really.
Is that?
It was never. It's a book, of course, that.
Is it satanic?
No, well, I mean, it's satanic especially for the Islamic community that feels particularly insulted by certain things depicting their prophet in the, you know, the usual thing. When back in the day, Khomeini gave this fatwa, I still remember I was on top of a ship crossing from Calais into England. So, I mean, I was a little child and I remember this fatwa that was issued back then. The crazy thing is that here in America at the moment, the American government is dealing with Iran, giving them probably billions just so they can halt their nuclear plan. The mediator for this whole thing is Russia, which is supposedly an enemy. So the whole thing is a joke. You remember when Obama gave billions to Iran with a whole airplane full of cash? Mm-hmm. These people are criminals, and they do things like wanting to kill an author like Salman Rushdie. He wasn't even a journalist. He's an author who goes around, does the classic conferences. You never expect a guy like that to have any kind of problems in a place like the United States of America. Instead, boom, problem because, of course, you need to know that here in America nowadays, especially in a state like where Salman Rushdie was attacked, I think that it's really stupid to not have a gun handy to bring him down.
Where was he attacked?
So here we are. Our connection is not that great today, but Salman Rushdie, a guy who, of course, like I said, not necessarily my favorite author, stabbed in Western New York, which is, of course, a demonic democratic state. There's nothing else to add here. I mean, the thing is this. I mean, guys, the man accused, of course, must be a assassin who either did it paid, because we know that there has been even attempts. I mean, Iran, in the meantime, has been accused of attempting the murder of Pompeo for $1 million, the murder of other American politicians, especially we saw it a few days ago what happened. And at the same time, we still deal with Iran instead of knocking the hell out of them. That is what, I don't understand here, because the problem is that in this country there is people who bow down to those crooks, those socialist Islamic crooks who founded, after deposing the Shah, their satanic, because they are satanic, definitely. Rushdie was definitely stupid to be in a state like New York, where you don't. I mean, that's why when I did my conferences, I always had guns handy everywhere. There was actually a conference in Kidman that I even had. We had grenades. I had grenades under my thing. So basically, I had bulletproof vests.
That was in Kingman.
Yes, I had bulletproof vests, grenades, AK-47s, all kinds of things. I have to thank also my friends, the Proud Boys, because they also took care of the security in Sacramento. There we were actually.
We were being threatened, so it was a bad time.
An author can always be threatened.
Yeah.
An author can always be threatened. So that's one of the things that at the moment has stopped me from encouraging my presence in conferences. But I would suggest, if you are an author and you are a controversial author, to have a gun handy always, at all times, because that's what happens. That's what happens. I mean, you saw the other week we showed a Republican politician who was attacked, and there was a good security though that immediately blocked him.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need like security.
You need other security, but you need also weapons handy.
So now we're really never going to go around. We have to hire security.
Well, it's not a
No, but people are really nice, and they usually help us.
Listen. You have to have a gun handy either you have to have it on you or a meter distant. Yeah. There's no way of doing conferences with these kind of subjects without having a gun in your hands. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. So just so you know, for all those people out there, Antifas, Black Lives Matter, whoever, I have a gun handy at my conferences. So just as you know, I know how to use it. I used to be in military, so just before you make the move, think about it. And Salman Rushdie, though, as a typical libtard, thought he was, maybe in some guy. And that was unfortunately what happened to a author, a colleague. For me, an author is a colleague. Yeah. Regardless of what is at stake, an author is a colleague. Okay, so we have this week, of course, an attempt by China to start programming maybe a meeting with Joe Biden. But in the meantime, we want to remind everybody else that China is really at the center of this shift, together with Russia, towards a Sino-Russian New World Order, as I predicted in this book, Volume 7 of my Confessions, From the Occult Roots of the Great Reset to the Populist Roots of the Great Reject. This is a book that you should definitely purchase to know more of how to survive the years ahead and what is really happening and why is really happening.
It's not just a jobs issue, it's a national security issue, and we've got to wake up as a country.
Well, Adrian Mitch, China owns close to 200,000 acres of land in the U.S., worth close to $2 billion. And now some American leaders, they're very upset over China's recent purchase of land near an Air Force base.
The question centers around a controversial land sale between North Dakotans and a company with ties to Beijing.
Tonight, an unprecedented warning from the world's top intelligence agencies. In their first ever joint speech, FBI Director Chris Wray and his British counterpart, MI5 Director Ken McCullum.
It's interesting because, do you know how long this has been going on?
Well, interesting part is that we saw a tremendous Chinese buying activity about 5 years ago. And then since then, it has began to steadily decline. And in fact, in the past 2 years, during the COVID environment with, travel restrictions in place, we have seen a substantial decline in Chinese buyers coming into the U.S.
Amid Chinese company Fufeng's purchase of more than 300 acres of farmland in North Dakota, just 12 miles away from Grand Forks Air Force Base, a base with high-profile and sensitive drone technology. It's a move national security experts warn could make the U.S. vulnerable.
We consistently see that it's the Chinese government that poses the biggest long-term threat to our economic and national security.
The U.S. and U.K. accuse China of deploying a global network of spies to hack and penetrate governments, businesses, universities, even local communities, to steal secrets and influence public opinion.
The Chinese Communist Party is interested in our democratic, media, and legal systems, not to emulate them, sadly, but to use them for its gain.
Yeah, perfect. And that is really what I wanted to discuss here. Because this week, of course, we saw Donald J. Trump, our former president, with this unprecedented attack on him, in which, we have a former U.S. president being accused of terrible things. Of being almost a spy of sorts. But he was very clear when he said in his statement yesterday, there has been other presidents who have done similar things. There has been Hillary Clinton that has done similar things. Nobody has had any problems. President Barack Hussein Obama kept 33 million pages of documents. He stole
computers too.
Yeah, much of them classified. How many of them pertain to nuclear? Word is lots. So you understand here there is definitely a will from the Democrats to stop Trump from running at the next elections. It's pretty clear here, and of course we have a warrant and the whole show, which is all meant to work out some kind of process that will lead to a possible indictment, because this is really the ultimate goal for the Democrats, to stop Trump from running. Now, is this a positive thing? Of course not. Of course not, because you see, when you are stopping somebody like Trump, who is supported by more than half of the nation, you're going against the democratic will of the people, not the democratic sense of democratic party. And for that reason, of course, we see China totally interfering with our own affairs. Because, guys, if you think that China is not behind even this raid and everything that America is doing wrong, America is doing a rather wrong thing simply because China is working the legal system at its advantage, is working the political system at its advantage. And this idiotic ex-CIA chief who even endorsed a possible death sentence because, you know.
To who?
For Trump. I mean, these people are sincerely insane. Somebody was asking me, where should I purchase my books in Stricker? Well, you can purchase it Amazon. I don't sell my books directly. So that is, just so you know, we don't sell our books directly. So that was basically some technical glitches today.
Yeah.
Kind of like can't go. Okay.
What's wrong with the FBI? Is China own them too?
Well, of course. I mean, I think the war was lost a long time ago. Because, I mean, the FBI used to fight communists back in the 50s, and now they promote communism. So there is a big difference here.
It's interesting that Chinese are not just buying land in the United States, but there is a report by the USDA that since 2009, the Communist Party has actively supported investments in foreign agriculture as part of its agenda.
Is that the Chinese Communist Party, as part of their national strategy to replace us as a global power, is seeking to dominate our supply chains. They already dominate our pharmaceuticals. They dominate solar panels and wind turbines that the left are trying to push us towards, the lithium supply. And in this case, now it's our food supply. In addition to this land that they're buying up, they've also bought the nation's largest pork processing plant. They're buying up grain mills because they know that if they can win this economically, if they can choke us off with these key supply chains, add computer chips and all kinds of others on top of it.
Don't forget Canada. No, it's better that we forget Canada. Canada is a communist, socialist shithole in the hands of China for a long time. So, I mean, they made that modest attempt to riot. I don't know what that was all about. It didn't really work out, you guys, with those trucks and everything else. Talking about that, what happened with Grandpa Tone? He never uploaded any more videos on a Roku channel. He literally disappeared.
Where are you?
Where are you, Grandpa Tone? Have you betrayed the Zagamis? I hope not. So at the moment,
well, he did us a favor by doing that. I mean, I guess.
People wanted to be paid to upload on Roku, maybe. We don't have any. I mean, we don't have anybody even interested in donating. But we invite you to purchase our books. And of course, my books, but also Christy's books, because that's a way for us to eventually be able to come back again. If not, like we said earlier, we will take a couple of weeks break to see if there is any interest really on people to still have the Leo Zagami show, or if the interest has faded out. And
maybe they like you better on your own, right?
No, it's not a question. I was not doing anything here on my own. I mean, people, they know my channels have been removed over and over again. And it's really difficult to get back the viewers when I lose the channels in the English language. Same thing doesn't happen with the Italians. The Italians are loyal, and I always manage to build up a channel in 1 week that brings me thousands of views.
Our channel is doing better.
It is. This channel at the moment is doing better. It is definitely better. But how long it took to rebuild the channel after they removed the other one?
6 months.
7.
And then they're going to remove it. So.
No, I hope not. But
that's why we don't reach people, I think. We don't ever reach. We have like this group of
shadow
really
banning.
Great audience that follow your work and stuff, but then we never expand past that because they don't let us, because we're completely banned. So I think the people that make an effort, but a lot of people don't know about your book. And we're not really you're not on InfoWars anymore. So I feel like we're just complaining. That's why we need to go away for a little while. I don't like.
Then they don't even have to worry about a military conflict.
But I also reached out to Gary Bridgeford, the owner of that land. I did not hear back, but he has been threatened by people as well as neighbors for selling that land to the Chinese. But we should also point out that Bill Gates also bought a whole lot of land in North Dakota, and he received a lot of scrutiny as well, saying, is this tied to China?
So you said Bill Gates bought land.
Oh, well, if you want to find more about Bill Gates' ties to China, just buy Volume 7 of my Confessions. Of course it's tied to China. Bill Gates works with China and is member of the Scientific Academy.
In North Dakota, about $14 million worth of land, about 2,000 acres.
People think that Bill Gates is somehow tied to China, right?
Exactly.
So they think
a lot
that's
of
more Chinese
conspiracy
land.
theory here as well.
Yeah, connecting
Just
the
so we're
dots.
clear, different companies buying different pieces of land
Exactly.
in the same state.
Yes.
And we have no direct links necessarily to Bill Gates and the Chinese government.
No, but speculate.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You see, that is how you make fake news. You just need to go on the internet and you see that Bill Gates is a member of the Scientific Academy of the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, how can these people lie so much?
They lie so much. They just lie.
Conspiracy theories, but the fact is, thank you, Kelsey, I appreciate it. This has been going on for years. It's just that it hasn't been reported heavily.
The biggest threat we face as a country from a counterintelligence perspective is from the People's Republic of China, and especially...
And why are you serving it then? This guy was, of course, brought the worst decisions, is now saying the worst threat is China, which is actually the China is the country who has bought out most of the politicians who are sitting down in Washington today, regardless of their political affiliation. That's the sad truth.
The Chinese Communist Party. No country presents a broader, more severe threat to our ideas, our innovation, our economic security than China. And they are targeting our innovation, our trade secrets, our intellectual property on a scale that's unprecedented in history. They have a bigger hacking program than that of every other major nation combined. They have stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than every nation combined.
What is the FBI doing about that?
So the FBI is keenly focused on the China counterintelligence threat. We are now moving at a pace.
So you are keenly focused on the Chinese threat, but at the same time, they are keenly focused on ruining Donald J. Trump, who is the number one enemy of China. This is really, I mean, the hypocrisy, you know. The FBI has done really everything it could to basically ruin the life of patriots who maybe in a naive way have gone inside the Capitol Hill on the 6th of January 2021. They were naive, they were stupid, but they were not terrorists. They were not bad people necessarily, you understand? Those, of course, who have done any criminal acts should be condemned. But having said that, this nuclear classified documents and all this, Trump had showed them last June what he had and he didn't have. Trump wasn't hiding anything. Trump was probably himself a little bit naive because, I mean, you should definitely keep in mind that these people are crooks. So when he showed, you know, his inventory to them prior to this raid, they just they just wrote down, okay, we can nail him down for this. We will pass by later. You know, this is what they did, because this is what they did. So it's very incredible. They say they focus on China. I repeat, China is the one that is in bed with the Bidens. China. So if they're so focused on China, how comes Hunter Biden, who even claimed on a recording that was filtered through the media after, of course, picking it up from his infamous laptop from hell, in which he said he was friendly with the chief of intelligence of the Chinese Communist Party. He bragged of his, and instead Trump here is basically treated in this way because what they're doing here, guys, is very clear. They're trying to force the possible donors for his campaign to abandon him, the big donors, the big, those big companies that give a lot of money for political campaigns. No, don't touch him. He's dangerous. He's this, he's that. I think this week, though, some of the most interested elements that came out of this raid with Donald J. Trump by the FBI was the fact that Trump's staff, Trump was, of course, in New York at that time, didn't turn off the cameras. And apparently, Hannity said that they have footage that might be released soon. Now, this footage demonstrates that they went through even, of course, we see the closet of Melania, but also they went into rooms that were not indicated in the in the mandate to be able to search mandate. You have to warrant. You have you have to basically specify where you
makes my eye twitch. All of it.
Yes. So sadly, we still haven't seen this video, but I'm sure that Trump could release this video, and that will, of course, show the American public how wrong is all this. I mean, going in search basically of ways simply screwing up Trump to not let him present himself. The thing that these people have not understood, though, is that, okay, they can stop Trump, but there is DeSantis eventually. There is other people who will follow. I mean, Trump nowadays is also relatively old, and it's not, I mean, if we had a younger candidate with the same ideas, it would probably work out even better. But of course, people are, want to see Trump again in the White House. And also it will be a good way of sending a clear message that America is not on the path of self-destruction with these globalists who are in bed with China, because this is what happens. So this FBI, who is indicating China as the enemy, is working for China by doing what they're doing. That's
where we're opening a new China counterintelligence investigation about every 12 hours.
But again, I'm just glad that we're getting this story out there because, as you mentioned, it's been going on for years. We just are finally talking about it.
So,
I think that Americans are the backbone and the heart of, the patriot Americans are the backbone and the heart of America. And I think that no matter what, you saw what happened with January 6th. I mean, we're still here and we're still, so we didn't go away. So, I mean, we still have the same ideas and want the same things for our country. So I think no matter what, there's always going to be someone there that we can count on, hopefully.
And the move, of course, coincided also with Alex Jones, the trial, and also the fact that his lawyer, unfortunately, did that really big error of sending those files. This is a funny moment, though, that I wanted to just broadcast today.
One of the things you've been talking about on your show is your allegation that government officials are aiding in pedophilia, child trafficking, and the grooming of children, right?
You mean like what Jeffrey Epstein did with the Clintons?
Not bad. Now, a few hours ago, my friend Alex was with Steve Bannon, and this is what he had to say about the trial and everything else.
One of the most revered and reviled men on the planet. You're one of the most well-known and controversial men on the planet. I don't think anybody's had a role, maybe not even President Trump. The last couple of weeks, your trial, everything that's happened in Mar-a-Lago, now a global thing. You're back on the show. You're at the forefront. You got a book coming out. You have a huge hit movie, a big best-selling, #1 best-selling New York Times book about to hit. a trial that everybody in the world's focused on because they got the whole world's media down there. There's a small Texas courthouse. Just get our audience up to date. How have the last couple of weeks been, and where's the head of Alex Jones right now?
I try to stay focused on the Great Reset, the globalist takeover that we're witnessing of transhumanist fascism by a select group of corporations that are using authoritarianism to consolidate control. I try to stay focused on that, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't get distracted by the show trial, one of three that's set, where I've already been found guilty by these judges. It's all coordinated. And then the judge instructed the jury that I was guilty. She wouldn't let us put on our financials that I don't have a lot of money. She put up a guy with no evidence saying I had $260 million in the bank.
So if you were able to do your real financials, you wouldn't be worth I think it's over $250 million, I think what the forensic accountant said. If you were able to put on the real financials, it wouldn't be that number.
It would be, look, I don't measure myself by money, but I did have $10 million in the bank a year ago, and I've spent almost all of it keeping on the air. We've been in the negative. I didn't think of $10 million as a lot. I saw it as an emergency reserve, and I've expended it with the bandwidth and the legal and all the things. And I'm not complaining. I'm definitely in the arena, but it is surreal to actually be in the most historic show trials ever. I saw the show trial they had for you where you couldn't cross-examine, and they now admit at the end of the trial, but also on CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, everywhere, they said, the model we've done with Alex Jones, the London Telegraph talked about it, the BBC wrote about it, the model we've used on Alex Jones will now be the model to silence anyone that questions official narratives. So this is the next level of not just censoring people online, but misrepresenting what prominent populists and nationalists have said, and then finding them guilty in default, and then telling a jury, you just decide how guilty. And so they told them I had $260 million in the bank, and their lawyers asked for $150 million, and the jury's now some of us spoken out to the media. They said, well, we thought he shouldn't be ruined, but we thought, $48 million or whatever was reasonable, which is just totally insane. And so, again, that's how they totally manipulated and controlled this trial. But at the end of the day, it is a price to pay to be on the front lines against these people. And I'm very blessed and very honored that really my guests and my audience, Steve, over the years is the reason InfoWars has been so effective and so blessed to reach so many people. And so the globalists do track back, as you said when I was on the show last week, almost like InfoWars was the special forces at the front lines laying the tracks for the heavy equipment to come in behind us. And so that's how they see me. It's very surreal to be in that position. And it's also frightening because I'm really concerned if they're able to silence me, they'll be able to silence everybody else. But I'm seeing a real rallying around InfoWars, and I'm very blessed and thankful for that. I've certainly made mistakes, but they take those mistakes, magnify them, and then misrepresent what you've said, and then try to destroy you.
No, I continue to call you I-Corps Commander because you're the information war commander. And if people in the power structure, the global investment banks, the World Economic Forum, the global corporatists, these governments, if they didn't know that Alex Jones was getting to the heart of it, there wouldn't have been global media down at some small Texas courthouse. Hey, they know exactly what the information is. They know what the truth is, and that's why they're coming after you. Just for our audience, because you said this the first time we had you on when we talked about the Great Reset, this amazing book. I think it comes out on the 23rd, I think it is, in a couple weeks, but you can pre-order now on Amazon. Also, you can go and stream the movie Alex War, which we're going to have Alex Moyer on here. It's just an incredible film, and she didn't pull any punches. I mean, this is Alex Jones, what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's a very, very powerful documentary film, and one that we strongly recommend everybody see. Alex, I think what has caught a lot of people by surprise, maybe don't go to InfoWars all the time, but don't even go to War Room, is that there are more of these trials coming up. Can you just tell us, and you said on the show the other day, hey, the one you saw is the least, there's worse coming. What do you mean by that, particularly for people that support you and want to support InfoWars and you personally? When you say worse things coming, what does that mean?
Well, Judge Maya Gamble was just elected 2 years ago, and she took over the case from a retiring judge who was bad, but not half as bad as her. She is a Soros acolyte. She is a SJW Antifa supporter on her own Facebook, and she is an extreme authoritarian, and So she has both the Texas trials, 2 different groups of Sandy Hook parents suing me. The next trial is set to start in Texas in a month. At the same time, it's set to start in Connecticut, not a 2-week trial, but a 8-week trial, which is, again, a default where I'm already guilty, the judge says, because I didn't supply any discovery, which is a total lie. And so that's going to be going on with wall-to-wall coverage constantly, trying to demonize InfoWars and myself to, again, create the precedent they've already said to shut down. They've said your name. They've said Tucker Carlson's name. They've said Joe Rogan's name. There was another big Media Matters article yesterday that went down the list saying we're going to get all these people next by suing them in select jurisdictions where they control the judges who are literally financed by George Soros. This is something that's really important to add. I would tell people 10 years ago, even though it was in the documents, that George Soros was financing and getting district attorneys and county attorneys and state attorneys elected. And he's got over 1,000 of them total in the U.S., most big cities and many medium-sized cities, and even small towns have his people in. In Travis County, where Austin is, he spent over $1 million putting in our new district attorney that lets people go, gangbangers, a day after they shoot people on the streets. I mean, it's that bad. And so people think of it as just being district attorneys. Well, now everybody knows that Soros has spent $41 billion. Tucker Carlson did a big, hour-long report on it a week ago. A lot of bravery for him, because he'll come after you if you talk about it. $41 billion in a decade. Divide that up, folks. That's billions a year. $41 billion putting people in. But that's only about half of the $41 billion is putting district attorneys in. The main push is judges in jurisdictions where judges are elected. And so imagine you live in a town where you've grown up and the judge is Antifa, the judge is SJW, the judge is financed by Soros, and then you've got a bunch of Soros-connected Democratic Party law firms, the ones that sued Remington into bankruptcy, and you have these people literally triangulating with the controlled corporate media and the judges and the lawyers, and then the rest of the story is they run your lawyers off the cases by sanctioning them and threatening them until I've had a bunch of lawyers quit. Even though they turn over all of the stuff they want, they still sanction them and say they haven't. I've been sanctioned in Austin $1.4 million in the last 4 years of this kangaroo trial, $1 million of it just in the last 2 months. She sanctioned me $1 million and change just a month ago, and normally you don't do that until after you failed your appeal at the state Supreme Court or the U.S. Supreme Court. So they're doing things to me that they've never done before. And again, I want to say it again, admitting now, in the closing arguments, they pointed at me and they said, take away his microphone, silence him, never let him build his platform again, take him out. And when we're done taking him out, we're going to take out all the disinformation. And again, that means the people that are telling the truth, that are popular. Libertarian, conservative, Christian, populist media has high 60s ratings across the country in polls. The corporate media has the lowest approval rating of even Congress, less than 10% on average. So you have a dead, dying corporate media that thinks it can roll out this new program of suing people in Soros-controlled Democrat jurisdictions where they then rig the jury by allowing the jury questions. Do you feel Alex Jones has ever been treated unfairly by the media? Do you think it's okay if we give $100 million? And my lawyers tried to say, no, you can't ask those questions. That's rigging the jury. And the judge said, we're asking those questions. So they rigged the jury with the questions. They'd already found me guilty. They already fined me over $1.5 million here, $500,000 in Connecticut. It is just a feeding frenzy of raping the hell out of me. But I'm not a victim. If I was in prison or dead right now, it would be a good price to pay to take these folks on. I feel blessed that I'm the first they're coming after, because at least when you're the first they attack, it gets some attention. But after they deplatformed me 4 years ago and admitted then it was the model for everybody else, then we didn't hear about everybody else until it was Steve Bannon and President Trump. And Trump did speak out against it. You did speak out against it because you were smart enough to know that we all hang together, hang separate. Plus, you care about freedom of speech. But this is the enemy's next big move of weaponized lawfare.
And this was, of course, Alex intervening on the war room with Steve Bannon, not his own war room, which is, of course, with Owen Schroyer, who himself, though, has also a lot of cases coming up. I mean, definitely it's not going to be easy for Alex Jones, even if he had those 200 and more millions that they claim. If he starts with cases that are 50 million a case, he's going to end up definitely having some problem. But I don't think that Alex will ever disappear, because, of course, the support of millions of loyal fans has made possible for Alex and Infowars to make $1 million in 1 week only, no, Christy? That is like an incredible amount of money in a very short time from, like I said, loyal supporters that are definitely looking after Alex Jones, who, of course, is trying to fight in any way the establishment. We have only 3 people who said they donated very modest sums, but we want to thank them: Giuseppina Cairo, Joseph Strongish, and Leosvaldo Martinez. We would like to be able to carry on also next week or in the coming weeks, but the donations that we are receiving, sadly enough, don't cover the cost of our broadcast. So we will have to come back in September.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Of course, that will change if we receive some more donations. But at the moment, that's how it is. So we still ask for your support, but keep in mind that if you don't make at least $100, we can't really opened up the show. So also keep in mind my new book, Volume 7. And keep in mind that my next book will be out in the fall, which is Volume 8. Yes.
Volume 8.
Yes.
No, I was going to say, we lost Olivia Newton-John this week.
Yes.
And I was a really big fan, and she has so many fans, and she was a lovely, lovely person. She really was. I wish I could be such a great person as she was. She was really a great person. She cared about people, and she tried to help them. She suffered from cancer, and she beat it, and then she ended up getting it again, and she succumbed to it. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but we're going to miss her.
Oh, Christy really sincerely misses Olivia Newton-John, a great part of recent American history that, of course...
she's a big part. She's the greatest part of Happy Times.
Of Happy Times for America, which is, of course, very important to keep in mind. So here we are. Here we are with a dramatic moment, Christy in tears, which usually
happens at least once during these shows.
It happens once during these shows. And I will show you, though, downtown Tijuana. Why? Because this is a very interesting video.
Right? Hello, rat.
Domesticated rats in Tijuana.
Rat.
The infamous pet rats of Tijuana.
Okay, we'll go down here.
Now, it seems all fine and dandy, but as you know, things have not been that good in Mexico, and especially in Tijuana, in the region of Chihuahua, and the situation has been very tense. I mean, there has been some crazy things happening in Juarez. Just watch. I mean, this is an ordinary day in Juarez. I mean, this is like, it's insane. I mean, what is happening? Things are really so much out of control that, Lizzie, what do you think about this whole thing?
About what's going on in Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, isn't it quite incredible? I mean, we
I
have...
kind of picture Mexico like this anyway.
Not all the time.
I've never been there, and so I've always heard these stories. And
I mean,
I was so scared when I heard that you were going to go. You know, when you wanted to go there, I was.
But
really,
I went many times.
Okay, yeah, you went many times.
What?
The first time I was so worried about you. I didn't think you were going to come home, and then you made it.
Listen, you think that I've survived the worst crooks in Europe? I'm afraid of the guys in Tijuana. I mean, come on, man. I survived the worst mafiosi in the planet.
That's true.
So that's it. Yeah, no, guys, it's a bit noisy. it's a bit noisy, but that's how it is. I mean,
I think that there's really beautiful places in Mexico. I'm sure of it.
No, definitely.
And I would like to really visit Mexico when all this is over. Maybe it will never be over. So.
No, I think
I feel like my traveling days are over.
Why?
I don't know. I just. I don't know. I hope that's not true.
Magari sono a Tijuana.
This is me in Tijuana. A moment of Leo Zagami in Tijuana. I've got of course I have the English version. This is one of my last trips to Tijuana. It wasn't the last one though. The last one was in March. I don't think I even made a video when I went in March. I have to check out the.
You were on the DL.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but Tijuana, it's a colorful place.
How do you look cool?
Back in Tijuana. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm a city girl, so.
Another day in the most dangerous city in the world.
I'm from Brooklyn, so it's pretty much close to that.
Yeah. So well,
some of the places I hung out in Brooklyn, like on 3rd Avenue. I mean, it looked like that. It was really bad. I'm surprised I made it home every night.
Fortunately, you did.
I did. I have angels.
Yes, because it's not easy, yeah?
All by myself.
All by yourself. Okay, now, as we are about to approach the last part of the show in which you are welcome to call in, just to be clear this time, please try to avoid subjects that can, of course, bring this video down. You know very well what kind of subjects trigger the algorithms. Just be a bit more coded in your terminology.
But we didn't get taken down last week.
But we were close to it. So if you call, please remember that. The algorithm doesn't like you to talk too much.
Nobody's going to call in because you scared everybody. No one's going to call in.
But before that, I want to show instead this message that should be really widespread here in America, but nobody really, I didn't see any media. This is the representative of Russia at the United Nations, and this is what he said just 24 hours ago.
So basically, Ambassador, what we've heard is Russia and Ukraine are accusing each other of shelling, but both of you want the IAEA to visit. So what happens now?
I'm not sure that Ukraine wants to visit the IAEA as much as we do, although they claim the opposite. We had an opportunity to have the IAEA visit as early as last June, beginning of June, and we made everything possible, all the conditions for the IAEA to visit. But the visit did not happen because of the position of Kiev and the position of its Western sponsors at that time, and the position of the UN Secretariat, who cited reasons of security concerns, and the reason didn't happen. Now it's so obvious what is happening, and even the Western sponsors of Kiev did not dare today say anything which they initially sort of tried to say and invent a theory that as if Russia is shelling itself, is shelling its own personnel, which is guarding the station, as well as the city of Energodar. They refrained from doing that. Of course, they demonstrated the miracles of resourcefulness, trying to avoid calling a spade a spade, but still they didn't mention that. Only the Ukrainian representative said that it is Russia who is shelling the station which it is controlling.
Does Russia consider the nuclear power plant to be a civilian object?
Nuclear power plant is a civilian object, and that's why Russia is guarding that object to prevent it from being damaged, because we know the consequences, and we warn about the potential consequences if the shelling of the station one day will lead to the leakage of the radioactive materials.
So Russia is guarding it, not setting up a military base.
Yes. We don't use the tactics the Ukrainian armed forces are using the civilian objects as military cover, I would say, what Amnesty International recently proved in a report, which we were saying all the time in all the meetings of the Security Council. And you see what happened to Amnesty International. Amnesty International is being harassed now for the report that it produced.
Why has Russia seized the plant to begin with?
Sorry?
Why has Russia seized the plant to begin with?
To prevent, to ensure, to safeguard the plant, to continue, to ensure its continued operation, which is doing.
But it's no
it's
longer safe.
It's producing electricity and is exporting it as it used to export it before.
So the situation is very tense in Zaporizhia, which is, of course, the biggest nuclear plant in Europe, and shelling the biggest nuclear plant in Europe is a crime that the Ukrainians don't really seem to understand what will trigger. I mean, they want to sell their grains, but if their grains become radioactive, they're not going to be selling any grains. The Russians definitely are warning the world because something really bad could happen over there. And if something bad happens there, a radioactive cloud could, of course, trigger a crisis all over Europe. I'm not talking only about Ukraine, because we know from the past experience with Chernobyl, the damages were felt all the way to Italy. I know people that were born when there was the Chernobyl accident who had the operations and cut themselves from top to bottom to try to cure themselves, and they're still suffering from the consequences. So Ukraine is shelling the plant. Ukraine is simply asking more money. Ukraine is probably now the problem. It doesn't sound that good, but the thing is this: when they see that they're about to lose, these people are such crooks so that they will destroy everything. They will not leave Russia with anything. They will simply, at that point, trigger a nuclear catastrophe. That is a lot more probable than people might think. So we pray that Zaporizhia stays safe. There is, though, also a limited amount of fuel available for cooling down one of the reactors. There seem to be some problems in getting it there. Whatever. It seems like not an easy situation. Well said, Bruce. Even $5 will help. Definitely, if everybody gave $5, we could definitely carry on the transmission. unfortunately, nobody does. So I mean, it's not possible if one person gives back. Okay, but we want to thank all those people who today, of course, are here. And if we are not going to be back until September, we hope that you will call in now as we open the phone lines. And we will have, before our summer break, we can call it maybe a summer break. Summer break. But Christy, remember that you're going to have to continue working on Volume 8, which is also coming together, and it's a very important work.
I like to work on the book.
It's a very important work that we are doing, because this book, I've been seeing, reading, studying the last few months so many books on Hollywood, and no book really focused on what is really happening with the great reset of Hollywood, what is really happening in the music business with of course, some authors focusing on one thing, some on the other, but they never really managed to paint a full picture. So in my new book, I wanted to paint a full picture, and I wanted to make a book that is not conspirational in any way. It's facts, proven facts, just as hard facts that have been proven to be true 100%, a million percent in this book. And of course, we will be working on finishing this book, which I think will be very important for all the people that will read this book and understand finally how they've been manipulating, how this culture of manipulation has been pervading all realms of the show business. And
for a long time.
For a long time, with military help, Masonic connections, Illuminati connections, all kinds of connections that rarely have been discussed. Somebody saying, check your donations on Fundly. Well, Bruce, definitely we will be doing that. We hope that, of course, many more people can join our friend Bruce in donating something for our show, and maybe we will be able to come back next week. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so the phone line is, of course, a way for us when we open the phone line to connect and to discuss with our viewers the subject of the day. Now, we discussed, of course, Donald J. Trump, this incredible event that this week has really changed the landscape, maybe even forever, of American politics. Because when you have such a weaponization of justice, it's clear that
it's very coordinated. Gosh.
Very clear, it's very coordinated, and it's very difficult then to oppose it when we still are in front of the midterm elections and these Democrats are ever so desperate. It's incredible, really. I mean, okay, so I will put on the phone number on the screen. Remember, guys, if you want to donate, Fundly, GoFundMe, or Cash App if you are in the United States or Great Britain. And the phone line, which we will be opening now, is +1 970-577-6369. I repeat, +1 970-577-6369. The lines will be open now.
Do they have to answer a question, or do they get to talk about everything?
Well, they should respect also the other people who might want to intervene. So just keep it stringent, so you give the opportunity to others also to eventually intervene. We are discussing the topics of today, of course. We try to stay within the confines of the topics of today, if possible. The lines are open, so when you want, you can call in. In the meantime, of course, we will continue discussing the subjects of the day. And in Europe, Germany has really started to create a scenario that is really reminding me of Stasi, of the secret police of Eastern Germany, that everybody used to spy on the neighbor, on each other. Now, if you only put on your heating next winter, you might be called in by the local spies in Germany. Hello there, welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Hi, Leo. This is your friend Bruce Kodish.
Hi, Bruce. Welcome to the show.
You call.
Hey, finally.
My question
yes.
with a little statement. Hopefully, it's little. That I've had some connection with Tony Gazzelli, Grandpa Tone. He's totally black-pilled, and he basically has said on his little program that he has on his website, uhf.net, I think it is, that there's no hope for people who haven't woken up already. And I myself have seen this on people I know, neighbors, relatives of mine, people that I communicate with on Facebook, who basically you'd think that the FBI raid on Trump's home and the IRA business with 87,000 new agents, that people would wake up even if they do consider themselves liberal.
You mean, sorry, Bruce, you mean the IRS? Yes.
People who aren't invested in the evil, but have been taken over by the propaganda. They just don't a lot of them still don't seem to get it. How do we wake these people up from their trance, or is it just basically, I'm not going to give up?
This is a discussion that before Jordan Maxwell died, we used to have often with him and with my friend Brian and the other collaborators that he had. We arrived to the conclusion that it's wasted time to now bring the remaining people on board when they simply are not there mentally. They've been brainwashed for too long. It's sad to say that, but even amongst our own families, we have to at one point draw the line and just tell them, sorry, but you might, think one way, I think another way. We all respect each other, of course, during our classic Christmas dinner or whatever. But it's not really the idea that we can save the people. It's becoming really more difficult every year that we can really save them, because they don't want to be saved. They're happy about this. Their way is. We need to go back to Plato's cave here, and the myth of Plato's cave. People that really are portrayed as inside this cave, and then you have, of course, Socrates, who wants to bring them out and say there is the light outside. Most of them don't want to go outside because they are entrapped in this cave with, all their certainties, and they don't really want to risk going out and seeing the light because that's too much for them. So,
I basically agree with you. Different people have different personalities, as you know, and there's some people who might be on the brink. So I guess you have to, my point is you have to pick and choose, and there might be some people you might be able to get a chink through their armor, so to speak, and basically they might be able to start seeing a little light. But for a lot of people, it's hopeless. I agree with you.
It's helpless, and it's really, when we don't have much time before the giant stride towards socialism reaches new levels, it's really also dangerous to waste time with these people, because we have to instead prepare to offer to those like-minded individuals something that instead can maybe protect them from what is coming. So, if we dedicate ourselves, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I still was of the idea, you remember, Christian, maybe we could in some way convince the entire of society to jump on board. It was a little bit naive maybe, but, we still believed that it was possible. But then, of course, when, the system arrests you, what is happening now to Alex, to Trump and stuff, is what happened to me in Italy. In the end, I was forced to leave that country and never to go back on to it again. I can't still and probably will never be able to go back to the place where I was born and see the people that I grew up with, because unfortunately these people have made a choice, which is to stay in the darkness. And in Europe has made this choice to stay in the darkness more than other places, because unfortunately, let's not forget that this evil is generated from Europe. So a big problem that we have also here in America is that all those people who rule this society are the ones who go to Georgetown, to Yale, to Harvard, and belong to certain families who have some connections with Europe. But it's in Europe that you have those people in their castles who are brought up in their Cambridge and Oxford colleges and whatnot, together with all the rich people from the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and all that, and they all mingle together, and they are all part of that elite that continues to unfortunately strive and control our society, because the majority of the people simply don't understand how we can oppose all this. And now, let me tell you, the situation is going to get worse. I'm going to show now on the screen an article from the World Economic Forum that tells us where we are really heading. And this article is about the artificial intelligence that is going to basically merge human and AI intel to censor hate speech and misinformation at the source, meaning that you will not really be able anymore, to even post on platforms like Facebook. Meaning that the moment you are actually writing down the whole thing,
that's already happening.
Already to a certain extent, but they want to bring it to the next level, almost like a thought crime, And
then you think it, and then they know you think it, and then you're in trouble before you even think about it. Maybe you were going to think about that.
I'm going to show you this article.
There was a movie like that.
Of course, Minority Report. But the solution to online abuse, AI plus human intelligence. And when this article, is published by the World Economic Forum 3 days ago. So they are preparing for massive amounts of censorship online. We are living definitely on borrowed time,
We might not be here.
We might not be able to survive even the censorship. That's why I focus so much.
So we're here now. So.
Well, that's good. That's why I focus so much on books. And I think that Alex has done a great move to publish this great reset book of his lately, because I think that books are still something tangible, something that you have in your hand that, and it's the books that's going to stay, because this digital world is becoming increasingly dangerous, and they might come,
And when somebody recommends a book, and I still buy books, it's probably my main vice, I don't like ebooks. I will get the hard copy or paperback, because I will have those when they shut off the Kindle supply.
Look, for example, all the elite, somebody wrote it, also they send their kids to private schools in Switzerland, where maybe they get to have as professor people like Klaus Schwab. And that is really the mentality here that people don't understand. Here is not about the color of the skin. It's not about the color of the skin, because we saw it with Obama. Obama is just as bad as everybody else, and he's definitely not white. But it's not about the color of the skin. It's about the social class you belong to, and how much money you have.
the content of a person's character, as Martin Luther King said.
Yeah, unfortunately, and sadly enough, the content of the people's character these days measured not even by the bloodline, but by their wallet. So yes, you still have, of course, those remains. People that maybe used to have a castle like myself, whatever, from the old aristocracy or all that still maybe can claim. They can go into. That's why I was able to be part of this world for a long time. But then you have, of course, today the new rich, the new rich that are, of course, in a way, not respectful of anything that is culture. It's just about showing off their big yachts, showing off everything. We saw it also when it came down to those Russian oligarchs. Extremely bad taste seems to be dominating our society. People have a lot of money, but then they don't have class, and so they spend this money in ways that are sincerely a little bit debatable. But thank you so much for your questions today, Bruce. Very well put together, and what in your message today. I think it's very important that we are here now facing this enemy, but we have something to fight it with, and the books, at least, I think that is a good thing. And I know that you are a great reader of books, and I'm sure you agree with that. We need to build up our new civilization now by gathering our knowledge and seeing who's going to agree with it. But if we think that there is going to be more people jumping on board, well, that's a little bit more difficult, because, guys, people have been damaged. Their brains have been damaged by. God. No, I mean, no. They are given TikTok. When you see TikTok, no. But this is how you gonna damage the brain of the future generations.
I was trying to brain damage myself.
No, in fact, I went to Christy and said, "Why are you watching?"
I was like, "I'm on TikTok."
Oh, I'm on TikTok. This lady who is getting her ass licked by a chihuahua. I was
like, her butt's getting licked by dogs.
I was like, what the heck?
And then the seal jumped up and grabbed this kid, and he went in the water, and the father went and got him, and I was sitting there watching it, and I was going, or
somebody who lights his, somebody who maybe is lighting his fat, and
and then he went on fire.
And this is the level of brain damage. People laugh, but in reality, one laugh after the other, they're dumbing them down, and they're making them more and more idiotic, to the level in which not only they will not be able to follow a show like this, because at that point they will be able to
That's too boring.
They will only be able to watch something that is a few seconds. They will only be able to read something that appears rapidly on the screen, and they are not really able to really go into the depth of, and that's why in the age of AI, the censorship is gonna increase, but at the same time, we're gonna also see that a lot of people are simply gonna be dumb and simply gonna be wanting to become part of this so-called smart society. So thank you very much, Bruce. We are now with another caller. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Leo, it's Sean out of Riverside, California.
Oh, Sean, welcome. Okay, so what about today's subjects that we are discussing?
Excuse me for a second, I was eating something. Pardon. I was going to say, I got to get this fast food out of my way before I make a TikTok video.
Right? Or you could put it in the TikTok video, and you could eat it and then make a special sauce.
There was a movie that came out in 2006, Idiocracy. We all laughed about it. We all thought it was funny. But watching it now in the age of TikTok, you start thinking maybe they were up to something.
Oh, yeah, right?
Well, perception and reality, Leo, you well know, can be very tricky things. If people already have a tenuous grasp on reality, anything that alters their perception can drive them over the edge, or can, like you were saying with Plato's cave, if it fits what they want to believe, they'll believe it. But if they go outside that cave and see a whole new world, they might run back into that cave and not want to come out.
Absolutely.
You know?
And you know, the people in that cave, you know, in that cave, you have the Masons, you have the controllers of the system. They are all there working to just project, like Plato used to say, on those. You have the cave has, of course, the walls, and you have these shades, and they are watching the shades. They're not even watching the people. They're watching the shades, which are basically in Plato's time, shades we can represent in this time like the media, no? Because the media is a shade of reality. So definitely we are dumbing down our society. We are keeping them in a technological cave, in a digital prison. I don't know what's going to happen next, but what's your impression?
Well, my impression is that media has shaped narratives to where people don't even know what reality is. Using that cave analogy, the people are looking at, you know, silhouettes like a puppet show versus seeing even, you know, like detailed, accurate shapes. They might see the outline of a bird. They don't know how many feathers are on the bird or how the bird's beak looks. They just see the hand puppet or the silhouette.
It's like the same thing, no, for the people who are in the supermarket and think that the chicken is coming out directly inside that, you know, the plastic.
Nobody thinks that.
There is people who have never seen a real chicken. Believe me, Christy, there is people who have never seen a real chicken. Trust me. In the cities, there is people who have never seen a real chicken.
They teach you about chickens in kindergarten.
They don't even teach anything anymore in kindergarten. They teach you how to be, they teach you the drag queens and how to become a drag queen in the kindergarten today. That is the problem.
I'm so glad I don't have little kids.
If you're a drag queen dressed like a chicken, all the better for them.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, they used to bring, you know, the children were brought to the farms to learn, if they were living in the city, the reality of farming. No? To see where the meat comes from. Nowadays, they take them to drag queen story hour. I mean, this is the sickness of our society. And so the dumb society, like idiocracy, could be a reality. And today, in 2022, Sean, you have to agree with me that we are still in the early stages of the AI. Imagine in 10 years from now, when people will be linked through maybe a computer brain interface or a microchip, and they will be like, do I have to go to the bathroom? Let's see what the AI says. Oh, yes, I go to the bathroom. He goes on the toilet, and there is like all these devices because, you know, they analyze what you are eating. Oh, yes, I went to the bathroom. Then the analytics say you had too much meat this week. You can't eat this meat. You went over your thing. Boom. You're going to receive a credit score system mandate that, you know, that you're going to punish you because your shit wasn't idoneous. This is what's going to happen.
No, this was true. They were checking sewage for COVID levels. If you guys remember, within the last year, they were checking different towns. I believe London and Paris were monitoring their sewage just for what the levels of COVID antibodies were.
And now,
this area needs another lockdown.
Yeah, you are right spot on what happened yesterday with the polio virus, which has also been found in the sewage in New York. I mean, now they said the polio virus is here.
Exactly. What is that? Why?
But there is a resurgence of polio. There is a resurgence of everything these days, and without counting, of course, also the monkey business of the monkeypox, which, by the way, today they communicate that there is the first case of human to dog transmission. Now, I really. How was this transmission?
I heard about that.
How did this transmission happen?
I don't know.
I hope
not. I'm gonna have to. Rambo can't be so wild.
I don't want to speculate on that, Leo.
We don't want to speculate on that. Thank you so much, Sean. We will, of course, move on to the next caller.
Well, you can catch it from clothes.
What's that?
They say you can catch it from clothes.
Okay, then he must be wearing, maybe
Don't think terrible things.
I hope not. I hope
not. That's just evil.
Okay, so +1 970 577 6369. Yes, so 6369. 970 577 6369. I'm just so sorry, but I need a pair of glasses sometimes. And you can call in. We are still here for another 5 minutes with our show, the Leo Zagami Show. We want to really thank all of those people who called in already, the people who have participated here on the chat, Samuel, Katie, Bruce, Sean, Access for Christ.
Oh, we haven't seen you in a while. I think her name is Christy.
Who?
Access.
For Christ. Okay, okay.
She's part of the old
Then we
Zagami
have
show.
Katie, Kat, Lisa, Scream Show, Katie Cat, yes, I think we saw Sergei Lavash, and Samuel Adams. I mean, many. Piper Fogel. Thank you.
You guys are so great. You always come back, and maybe someday we'll reach more people.
Who knows?
That would be really nice if our community can expand and we can trade ideas.
Somebody says somebody called MTC said, "God bless you all," and God bless you all. God bless you all. We of course love to hear more from you before we close down today's show. In the meantime, of course, we continue to discuss today's news, which it's of course also regarding China, that is constantly on our mind, and of course the fact that Joe Biden is, from what they said, they said that Joe Biden had his best week this week.
Really?
Yes, his best week.
Good for him.
Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Have you heard that Joe Biden had his best week this week? But there was no answer after a question. But welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Who am I talking with? No answer.
I don't think they can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
They're there. I know it. I can feel them.
You can feel them, but I don't know. It didn't work. So, guys, I had an article here that said that Joe Biden had his best week this week. I have to go. I don't know what drugs these people are on.
Wasn't he shaking the hand of a...
Yeah, of another ghost after it. Chuck Schumer. He said hello, Chuck Schumer. After 1 minute, he was there with his hand again. This guy... Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Who am I talking with? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from NorCal. This is Lisa that almost got you banned last.
Oh, Lisa, you didn't. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
She was very worried.
Yeah, well,
don't scare people.
About that. I was sick the whole day.
She was so upset.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, well, let's just avoid to trigger the algorithms because, of course, we know what triggers them. So this week, the Intelligencer, I mean, the word Intelligencer should already get the New York Intelligencer, told that Joe Biden had the best week ever. What do you think about this?
The best week for not falling down, or trying to shake someone's hand that's not there?
The best week ever.
Or economically.
They're making this fake thing that we're doing so great.
Well, let's see why it's the best week ever. Okay. So, a month ago, Joe Biden's presidency was on the brink of failure. Well, I think he's still on the brink of failure now. His legislative agenda was moribund. The economy was teetering on the precipice of recession, and Democrats were speculating in the press about who else they could nominate for that. But, of course, now they change everything.
You're an idiot.
And then they say, Biden, like Jimmy Carter, seemed destined to be remembered as a president of a world.
They're trying to make you think what they want you to think.
Yeah, and then
they're putting the thought in your head. They're trying.
Check this mind control game, Lisa.
I found a really good channel. I found a really good information channel called Redacted. I'm hooked on them. They're very good. They speak the truth, and they're very good. But yeah, is Joe Biden doing a good job?
No,
of
course
not.
Yeah, but
the gas prices. The gas prices are coming down. I just paid $5 to fill my truck up the other day.
Yeah, no, but
I don't see it. I see bacon is $11. Where's this beautiful Biden?
Lisa,
get it.
You are in California, no? I mean, in California, they put up the gasoline at $7, then they put it down of 20 cents. It goes to $6.80, or it goes down. Here it was a $6.20, it goes down to $5.80. This is after they put it from but it still stays up from what it used to be when Trump was there, which was $2, which was already a lot here in California compared to the rest of the United States. So I mean, it's like, of course, you know, I can put up something to $10 and then put 10 cents at a time down for 2 months.
Oh, yeah, and I'm doing so great.
And we're doing so great. But listen, let's read. Here it says, the situation has changed with astonishing speed.
Oh my goodness.
Biden has savaged his domestic policy. He has savaged his party. Savaged. I don't know what he said. He's a savage himself, though. His party's base has snapped out of his torpor. The economy is showing signs it just might pull through. Do you see these signs, Lisa?
No.
No.
Well, my friend just went across country to Alabama, and she paid $3.70 a gallon in Wyoming.
Uh-huh.
So
yes,
yeah. I'm going to Idaho next week, and that's really low there too. But here, no, not in California. No, never in California.
Well, in California,
but 370 isn't really low. 370 isn't low. I mean, that's our new kind of reality.
Yeah,
but it's not.
That's the new normal, right?
Well, the new normal, and while not all these developments are his own doing, nor they completely extinguish the political danger he faces, they all redound to his benefit. In the span of a few weeks, Biden's presidency is back from the dead and looking something close to triumphant. I want the same drugs as these people from the New York Magazine.
No, you don't. And he's coming back a zombie, basically.
I don't know, but I mean, these people must have some great drugs.
You don't want drugs.
No, but I mean, definitely. I mean, to say that Joe Biden's best week ever, they must have some kind of drugs. I mean, better than what I smoke. So this seems to be the situation. Regarding what Trump has suffered, what's your idea? Are they going to manage to indict him using this Espionage Act or not? Hello, Lisa, are you there? Hello, Lisa? Can't hear you. Hello, Lisa? It seems like we lost Lisa. In the meantime, Christy went to pick up the one and only Rambo.
You are very famous.
Always very famous, but he was chilling out. Rambo, are you chilling out? Huh? Okay. So
he's cold.
Yes, we are about to finish this show, but I mean, the Espionage Act used to eventually indict Trump seems to be really the most desperate move ever in the moves of desperation. Tehran is celebrating the attack on Salman Rushdie, and we are dealing with Tehran because, of course, Biden deals with criminals, with terrorists we shouldn't even be dealing with. But, I mean, the indictment, the real possibility is what really it's scandalous, it's erroneous, it's definitely something that reminds us that the swamp has not been drained.
He wants to be very, very tall.
You want to be tall, Rambo? Oh. Hello, Rambo. Okay, so a Trump indictment over misleading classified is now a very real possibility. All this bullshit. We hope it's not going to happen, because
wild.
Yes, put him down. We have to pray all together for the future of the United States, and we have to pray that they don't indict Trump, because if they indict Trump, then there is a real possibility that a civil war will take place in this country. And a civil war will destroy the lives of many people. Let's remember that civil war means killing your neighbor, killing people that are American, simply because they don't think like you.
Let's not get to that.
I hope that's not going to be the future here. And we thank all those people who have, of course, called in today. Some of them were more successful in calling, others were less successful. Please continue also to send images like, images of your latest Leo Zagami. Rambo, what are you doing? He's marching around. So, and I want to also promote an event I've been invited to by a pastor up in the north of California. I'm not going to be physically joining the event because with this kind of gasoline prices, I don't think that is no longer possible. But there will be free big screens and all that. The event is called Dark Secrets and Bright Hopes, September 16 to September 18, 2022. There is many guests. And I want to thank this pastor from the Church of Glad Tidings, who has invited me, and is the first pastor who has invited me for this talk.
Also David Perry, he did in England.
Yeah, in England, but here in America.
Here
in America, the first pastor. So I want to thank him. And seems to be also this Derek Gilbert from Skywatch, who is definitely a great expert who I admire. And there is many other interesting subjects. So if you want to join the event also virtually, you can do it. You have to, of course, check out the info at the website of this church. And here it is, Church of Gladings.com events. I can't seem to move it over the.
Glad Tidings.
Let me put it like this so I can. Let me see if I can block it here. Okay, Glad Tidings. Here we are. Okay, guys. So if you are in the area, you can go and check this place out directly. We are at the end of our show. Rambo, what are you doing? You're marching around like crazy. It's been
March of the Chihuahuas.
March of the Chihuahuas.
I think we're going to be back next week, guys.
I think we're going to be back. I think that our viewers want us again. Yes.
Of course we do.
Want us again. And what about that judge who signed the thing to go and to be able for the FBI to go to Mar-a-Lago? There was a judge. That judge now is under scrutiny. He apparently worked for Jeffrey Epstein when he was a lawyer. He apparently was a donor for Obama. Some people, to defend him, he was a donor also for Jeb Bush. But Jeb Bush is a neocon piece of whatever. They have accused him also of being a Jewish person. Now, that's wrong. Let's not make it an anti-Semitic rant. This guy is a piece of shit, of course. He's probably a Sabbatean Frankist. Let's not. Okay. Take care, guys. 7 minutes past the hour. All the best. And probably see you next week.
Have a nice Saturday. We love you. Bye.
All the best from Palm Springs, California. That's it, and a little bit more. Okay.